Sorry, Eliza.
Eliza, are you
I thought
there?
it was suspicious that the little
Raise your
graph
hand if
wasn't
you're
there.
here.
Oh no.
Dang it.
Who texted you?
We gotta start
That
over.
was-
What was
I
the
think it
first
was
thing we talked
Piper.
about?
She's like, when are you starting? I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was like waiting
Oh.
for.
Oh no.
Oh man.
All that good stuff we said.
Wait, should we do some so we can be our own guests?
We had some good pretzels.
Yeah,
you
we.
didn't get to see it. You can see some there.
Oh, here's the button. Yeah.
I know, but we don't
Maybe
have
it
it.
spares.
You don't get to see
It
it?
spares us the trouble of
Which
having
is good
it block
'cause-
the text.
Because it is kind of annoying.
It takes up like the bottom,
100%.
like third.
Yeah, the OBS chat, it was like
Sorry,
like a
this is
big like it was like that big, and it would like block out like this corner here.
Yeah.
It was really annoying.
Well,
It's on the YouTube one.
how do we tell Eliza we're back?
I don't know.
We just
Oh,
let
it's-
them know on Facebook, I guess.
It's fine.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, all of our dedicated. Oh, all that good stuff that happened that everyone missed, like Maki expressing her highly well thought out views into the microphone, and us eating pretzels. This honestly probably for the best. Because I feel like I was eating my pretzel right into the mic the whole time.
Just ASMR, you know, actually get
Yeah.
subscribers that way.
Some
Sorry, that was a bad joke.
little pretzel mukbang. Whoa!
Maki!
What was that, Mikey? You're like
She's-
leaning into my arm and you're...
Maki!
What?
Whoa, what are you doing?
Sheesh.
She's like rubbing up against people and punching them. Are you anxious?
Still new place, I guess?
Do you
I
feel
don't know.
shy because your uncles haven't seen him a long time? You're mad at Philip for never visiting. She's purring like really hard though. Like,
Yeah,
what's up
because
with that?
she's
She's like really proud of herself.
yeah,
Punched him, Dad. and
because she's
punched him hard.
sadistic. She's like a god.
Yeah. Oh, that feels so good. She's like,
That was a nicer punch, though. That was like kind of a cute punch. I feel like she was really like going after Philip just now.
I'm being.
They were just punches, though. They weren't scratches.
I don't know what she wants.
I don't get
think she
punched by
wants-
cats very often. I don't know how involved their claws are.
Do you want to try it?
No.
I just cut her claws recently. So
Oh, okay. I don't want to.
it's safe.
I don't want to get a cat punch.
One good example of a game
Oh, I
is
know.
Gazillionaire.
Yeah, Gazillionaire.
You can show off Gazillionaire
Do you guys
again.
want to see Gazillionaire? Okay.
All right,
Let's
See Mr. Zin.
remember Mr. Zin.
we're talking about games. We're talking about the visuals in games.
The visuals in games. We have to catch everybody
We had
up.
pretzels. Can't believe everyone.
What?
I just about said Theo. No.
This cat is
Maki.
hissing and purring at the same time.
Hissing and
It's
purring and trying to punch Philip in the face.
really
Oh, so
interesting.
she's going back for Philip. So
Okay.
we have special. Okay, welcome to, They Drank Tea and Discussed. Today we have special guest star Maki the cat, and her handler, Teddy
Teddy.
Theodore.
What's
And Maki is doing her best. She was actually being a
She's-
super great cat up until about 4 minutes ago, at which point she started to attack Philip.
Stardate?
Stardate
Yeah.
4 minutes ago.
Alright, this is to catch everyone up on.
All right,
This is Mr. Zin.
that's from a
Beautiful art from a beautiful game.
yeah, it's from one of my favorite childhood games, and because I love it so much, the art is charming to me, whereas the art is maybe not great.
We don't really have to rehash things.
No. but
No, you were
it's
the one who
a
put
fun
Mr.
image.
You were the one who put the image up.
I mean, it was half a joke.
Yeah.
Ow! Oh, Monkey, are you anxious? You want to go home?
Well, that was nice of you guys to visit. Bye.
Bye. So here's my opening statement.
All right, opening statement.
Graphics. Bad graphics. Bad graphics are like poetry. The more limited you are, the more beautifully you could express your ideas.
Do you mean limited graphics or bad graphics?
Well, I mean, it's the correlation between a good game and its graphics, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be bad or good or just, the relationship. And sometimes there is no relationship. And like I said, it can add to the charm, but it can also, like Philip was saying, it can take away from the experience. Another one that came to mind was Descent. Did you ever play Descent?
I love
Like-
Descent.
Descent.
Here, get a little bit closer to the microphone. Or you can scoot.
Yeah, I can scoot over. I don't have to be so far away. I'm
Sorry, YouTube.
not diseased. Descent had. Well, it was at the time as a kid. I thought it was absolutely like mind-blowingly awesome graphics. Looking back, it's just like wow. It's like the character design is so bad. But
The robots.
yeah, the robots are just like, how many
There's,
ways
like,
can you arrange
they're,
a
like-
triangle?
Yeah. There's like a bunch of triangles with textures on them.
Oh yeah.
Multiplayer Descent is fantastic.
I think Descent 2 is the one with cinematics.
Yeah. Multiplayer. We would do that in like 7th grade. We had a computer lab that had Descent on it, and we'd have big games of Descent.
I feel like
Which was a lot of fun.
And it was like super illegal.
No.
No, they let you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to do multiplayer stuff, but like we always got caught because it wasn't allowed. Things that Gen X will never get to experience.
Gen X.
I don't know,
That's
whatever
okay.
the next people are. Monkey.
I keep being like Theo, not Theo the cat.
Hey.
She doesn't have angry ears.
Oh, I'd also like take like emulators and I would like save them on floppy disks so I could play them at school. Like Super Nintendo stuff. It was really fun. But like the problem is Chrono Trigger takes like a whole floppy disk.
That's all.
It's 3.4 megabytes. It's like
Nice.
it was frustrating. I had to download the emulator every time so I could play it separately.
What's a game where the graphics absolutely make it? There's lots of them.
Red Alert.
That's the thing. It's so like it's so tied to the game that
Well, some
When I
games
really
have
love
like
a game.
very like iconic visuals.
Stardew Valley.
That's how I feel with Heroes of Might and Magic 2.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That has like some of the most beautiful pixel art ever. And then the third one is like the weird like pre-rendered 3D. It's like
Yeah.
kind of janky, and it's
Right.
like charming in its own way.
Everyone
But
was
it's
doing in the
definitely
late
like-
90s.
It's definitely like a downgrade in like beauty.
Right.
Number 3 is definitely one where you could say it might be actually pretty bad art, but it is just like the charm of
Yeah,
the memory of it.
yeah.
Right. And back then you
still-
probably thought it was amazing.
No,
I
always,
didn't know.
I
mean,
always
you
said it
didn't?
was kind of
Okay.
janky.
it's janky. I think
Okay.
even kids could.
Yeah, because number 2 is like you're like, this is like really nice.
Because by
It
then,
still looks really good.
I don't quite know the timetable, but by the time I was playing number 3, I also had Warcraft 3,
Mm-hmm.
which is like something made with like beauty and love,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, and the Might and Magic 3D was like so much uglier.
But the mechanics of it are like
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like a very fun game to play. But yeah.
But like I don't know, like for example, like I don't know, Chrono Trigger, for example, like
That's
the visuals of that game like absolutely pushed the limits of the system. Is kind of art of pixel art
Of all art
of
ever.
all art ever. Yeah, like it was just really interesting. I don't know. It was obviously it was famous for a whole bunch of reasons, but like the pixel art was just gorgeous.
yeah.
And there was very little recycling of assets. I'm sure there was. There's going to be, but like every environment was its own different place and like had different tile sets and like definitely would think fall under that. Like the art made the game
Yeah, that's a 10 out of 10 game
for sure.
in like every way.
It's interesting though because then you look at Final Fantasy VII, which is kind of equal in fame to Chrono Trigger in a sense, and it is that pre-rendered janky like polyblocks, bricks for arms, and like it's just as fun. And like you didn't care. I didn't care. I thought the cinematic cutscenes were like whoa, like it was super graphics and stuff, but like it didn't bother me that I literally had like four, like a square for hands. Like it didn't take away from it at all.
Like Mario 64 is like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
His hands are just like,
bricks,
yeah.
like maybe
And then
5 gons.
The textures on things are like really awful. Especially the lava. The
But
lava's like really muddy and like gross looking. Because they're clearly like stretching like a like a
But,
tiny texture over like a whole map.
Yeah, who knows like what weird like noise texture they got.
Yeah.
Just a picture of a TV screen.
Yeah.
But then you look at like the remake. Sorry. I don't mean like I'm not trying to drive the conversation. It's just like
No.
I just
That's what you're here for.
It's
your
my
idea.
job. It's my idea. It's my job. Okay, but like the remake of Final Fantasy VII is spectacular in a lot of ways. It's like wow, this is what they wanted to make in the first place, and it's kind of what's the word? It's kind of inspiring in that sense because it fills all the holes that they didn't have physical space for on the CDs. There was already a 3 CD game. There was an install disc and 3 game discs. It was crazy for PC anyway, and they're filling all the gaps and they're making all the characters like it's like really high end graphics, but it also loses something in a way. And it's not just the kind of, I mean, there is like that sort of stereotypical anime voice acting stuff that I kind of have, and then the really stereotypical characters that I just, all the tropes, all the anime tropes that kind of stuffed into like, that have kind of evolved into modern gaming that kind of make it so that the art doesn't make up for what the graphics are trying to do. That's an interesting example of the before and after the plastic surgery, and now it's
The plastic surgery.
The plastic
well,
surgery. It's like not a bad way of putting it.
like the characters in the original. Have you guys played FF7?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
I haven't really
Man.
played many Final Fantasy games.
Well,
Those things are just cheap rip-offs of wizardry.
tell our
I mean, they kind of are. Not cheap. High production knockoffs of wizardry.
yeah,
But so is every RPG ever.
right.
So
But to all our Final Fantasy VII fans, you know what I mean, right? No, I just thought it's weird how the customs of game production in the I don't know, like when I first played the original Final Fantasy VII, all the characters felt unique and kind of gritty and real. I mean, this kind of like goes into like how like 90s anime just kind of had this really neat era of really original ideas with really interesting characters that weren't completely two-dimensional, but they've kind of evolved into like this thing. Well, we got to have the guy who adjusts his glasses, and we got to have the guy.
it's like a specific character
Right.
that you have to have. That's his main character trait.
Right.
He adjusts
He
his
adjusts his
glasses.
glasses. and we gotta have the black guy, and who obviously there's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm digging a hole.
No, I get it.
But like he fit. But like the way like anime depict black people is like this really weird hyper American dude buff guy. And they turned Barrett from the game into that sort of
Into like the modern.
trope. Anime trope. And like all of these people have like these really lame lines. They're like, I die for my friends, you know. It's just like, I don't know. It's
like a Fast and the Furious line.
yeah, it's just like everyone's just been reduced to a trope, and all of the, and maybe it was because I was a kid, but it feels like their depth is gone, and the graphics don't make up for that. The graphics, I was really looking forward to the remake because like sick, this is everything that they wanted it to be, and I'm excited to see what they make of it. But then we have like the main character heroines just kind of like being cute to the main characters. Like that wasn't their character at all. They didn't do any of that. Rant over. Sorry.
Like you said, probably before we went live, I think you said or at the very beginning here, how things should be limited. I don't know. When art's limited, it lets our imagination kind of do a lot of the work.
Right.
Yeah.
We're filling the gaps.
Which is almost like why you get something like Final Fantasy VII and like the 11-year-old playing it like makes it this glorious thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back and remake it 20 years later and they're like, okay, we've got the graphics to make it what everybody wanted it to be, but then somehow it doesn't.
The magic is gone. They did all the work for you.
When you can bring in people's imagination to like fill in things, your people's imagination can do much more interesting things with that than anything you could ever make.
Yeah.
And so when you have something that's limited, that kind of forces you to like your brain to almost do more work to suspend your disbelief, the more interesting it is to you because you're filling that in actively as you're consuming it.
And
But then if you're given too much, your brain kind of is just like, oh, that's just what it is. And then you're not, like, kind of engaging on that sort of subconscious level. Because you're not, like, actively, like, thinking, like, oh, how do I interpret, like, these brick hands into whatever.
Right.
Your brain is just like, oh, those are hands.
Those are my hands.
Yeah.
And you're like, when you think about it later, it like fills in interesting ways. But if all the information you have now, like visually, is all given to you, the space for you to actually do the really interesting, kind of almost personalized things from your own imagination just get, they're like robbed from you.
Yeah.
So
It's almost like the 11-year-old doesn't. I mean, it's just rehashing, but the 11-year-old doesn't see like janky Cloud. He sees like awesome Cloud.
Right.
yeah,
He sees
Well, I
your,
think
your profile.
Yeah.
The little
anybody
dude.
sees that.
Yeah.
Not just like an 11-year-old kid. It's like anybody can extrapolate something awesome from it.
Well, you have the character
That's
art
what
too
you
that
have.
helps, right?
Yeah.
Like the character art helps you. This is what your little bricks are representing, and
Yeah.
you do, yeah. That was really helpful.
You make it cool.
But now we have, the game is the character art, and
Yeah. Like you said, I haven't played it, but you said there's a lot of good stuff about it. So this might not be super fair. This might be a mean comparison, but it's like a Disney live action remake
Kind of.
yeah, exactly.
where it like doesn't matter how nice it is visually, right? It doesn't.
Right.
I mean, a lot of them aren't.
Oh, the Pinocchio one is so bad.
I
I
haven't.
don't know if you've seen it, but it's
I-
so
I
bad.
didn't.
I haven't-
forgot that they're even.
I haven't seen more than like 30 seconds of that, but I think it was just the trailer. I think you just see the trailer and you're like, what were they thinking?
It's just self-worship in a sense. Like all the things that Geppetto makes are like little wooden call-outs to other movies Disney has made, and
Oh, yeah, they're in
Ugh.
a
It's-
weird phase with that. And
it like
How they did that with the new one.
And like obviously, okay, so like the era in which the original was made, you know, you have all these kids that are drinking beer, like alcohol and cigars, you know, like it's
Yeah.
like the stuff that kids are actually not supposed to be allowed to do, and they replace it with like root beer and like
that like
a little theme park. It's like
what?
it's like, well, yeah,
They
you can't have too
completely-
much sugar. Oh man, I'm gonna go pound.
Yeah, that, like completely defeats the whole purpose of that.
Yeah, it's hollow.
Yeah.
Like they should have made it like even more extreme. Like they're doing
Like vodka and like
they're
some-
doing like meth or
Yeah,
something.
they're
It's like
Heroin.
They're shooting up.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
it's,
we're
just,
gonna get
it's just like
Red listed.
absolutely crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, making it like, cause that's the whole point. Is like, oh shoot, this is like little boys smoking cigars and
Right.
drinking.
We can't show
Like it's
people
supposed
that.
to be like, oh
It's the lesson is that this is bad, and you turn into a donkey
yeah.
if you do these bad things. Like
It's like, but it's just saying.
if you
you're a-
drink too
you're-
much root beer,
you're a fool to do these things.
don't go breaking
don't-
clocks.
Yeah, but it kind of breaks it down when it's like, oh, we're doing root beer now.
It was also
It's like what?
Don't stay up past 9.
and it was also an excellent pun
Yeah,
because like you do these things and you're a jackass. You know.
yeah,
Like it's like the donkey and it's a pun. It
Yeah.
works, and but no, we gotta whitewash that and make it. We gotta sterilize it is the word I mean, and
and it like completely breaks down like the message of it.
because they lose the message. Like I don't,
It's like, what's even the movie about anymore?
right, and I
Like,
feel like
what's the story at that point?
right, and I think at least Final Fantasy has that to its benefit because at least you have the original creators who are remaking it and putting what they originally imagined into the story. Whereas Pinocchio, everybody who made it is either dead or
In jail.
retired in jail. But like anyone who had the original vision
Oh.
doesn't.
They're dead. It's
Come-
super dead.
They've gotta
Super
be
dead,
old.
right?
I was like,
I doubt anybody's still alive.
no, they're dead. They're dead. Pinocchio was made in like 1930
Was
something.
it the 30s? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're
There's-
older than my dad.
There's no way. Like
They're-
the people that worked on that were
they're
probably
120
in, like,
years
their
older.
30s and 40s
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the 30s.
So they're dead.
But yeah, like I said, it was kind of not a fair comparison.
Well,
But-
it's an interesting contrast though because it's like you have people who are the original creators of something remaking it to their vision, but losing to the demand of what's popular. And then you have a company of people who have both disadvantages of people. They have no idea what the original vision was. They're afraid of expressing the story in the same way because of cancel culture. I don't know. Is that
Whatever
just
reason
like
they-
whatever
Yeah,
reasons there were, they don't have the original vision, and they have a lot of censorship issues that hold them back from telling the story, and so they make it the most polished turd in the world. It's like painful to watch because
Well, on top of that, the whole notion of like the live action remakes, the premise of that isn't even to like really make the movie. It's just
It's just a commodity thing.
a purely economic decision.
Yeah.
Which I mean, we brought that up before here. It's like that's one of the reasons why like I just cannot be bothered to watch any, because I know the reason that they're making them is not because it would be really great to tell this story.
Mhm.
It's we have this property, and according to our research, we ran some like things past some
an AI analysis.
we-
analyzes.
we ran some tests and some focus groups, and we found that Pinocchio was pretty popular. People still like that, so we're gonna make a live action one. We ran the calculations. If we do it live action, it's 53% cheaper than if we were to animate it,
You know what else sells?
and we can produce it in less time. And so there's like,
Yeah.
and we need it to be able to maintain copyright on this property, and like.
Also, we need
you
to
know
fire
that-
everybody when we're done.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you know that the reason that they're doing that isn't in actually the proper place to
Yes,
produce something artistically worthwhile.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, you end up with nonsense where they
And Lion King.
do.
Well, then you get the thing where it's like you know that hundreds of people worked really hard.
Yeah, it's not their fault though.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. I blame
yeah.
the director. Okay, he literally said we're gonna make the skies really boring on purpose because
The
skies aren't that cool.
What?
What? Right? Exactly. It's like
skies are super
he's like
cool.
you go to the savannah and there's like it's sometimes
Hey,
he
maybe-
took like a sometimes thing and made it an all the time thing just because it's not realistic for the sky to be always beautiful. We're gonna make it never beautiful.
When is the sky not beautiful?
Well, you know,
Maybe if
like
they hate the sky.
I mean, like like really dramatic, cloudy, like with cool sunsets and stuff. He made it as dry and arid as possible on purpose, and he was proud of it. He like it's in like the making of. He was
That's-
proud of his decision. It's like, no,
Well, I never watched the movie, and I don't.
you don't
That
need
makes
to.
me not want to.
Yeah.
You
Even more.
shouldn't want to watch any of them because,
Yeah.
I don't
like you
want
said,
to
they're all
watch
money grabs.
But
They're uninspired,
That's kind of crazy that that's actually a thing they said.
right?
Because
Like you wouldn't.
we live in a very arid place, and the skies are not boring.
Gorgeous.
Whatever, skies are in deserts are beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
Even like when there's not even that many clouds, like still like at night, not at night,
Like evening.
at sundown,
dusk.
like it's so cool looking.
So
When like
from the orange
you
to
get, like-
purple to blue
you
to
get, like,
black.
like pink like wispy clouds on like the darkening blue sky looks really cool.
So cool.
But yeah,
yeah.
I spend a lot of time looking at the sky.
The sky's amazing. I
and
started on Instagram actually, just literally.
just
I think it's just only the skies. I think is what I called it, and it's literally just pictures of the sky. Nothing,
Yeah. That's
nothing else. Like if there's an airplane, it's pretty strict. If there's anything unnatural, it doesn't. It's not there. No trees, no earthly anything. It's just clouds, just blue, just
That's
the
awesome.
sun.
That's fun.
Just it's a kind of a fun little thing, and it's like, yeah. I don't know.
well, it's like
Well,
even,
maybe if you went to the
my print
savannah, you'd
over
be like,
there.
I can't. It's too horrible. Too arid.
It's just in the morning,
too boring.
no clouds,
I can't run
just
an
a
Instagram
single
here.
transition of color, and it's
Right.
the
No
sky
clouds.
actually looks like that pretty much every morning at some point,
Yeah.
and it's really nice. It's very simple. There's not even clouds there. You don't even need clouds for the sky to be interesting.
The real message
The
here is that
closest thing to
Disney
a
is an
boring
idiot.
sky is like no clouds midday, I guess.
Wait.
That's the closest thing to a boring sky,
yeah,
in
just
my opinion.
just plain blue, I suppose.
Yeah.
even
you're
then, even
if
then
you're
it's still
staring
like
right
a
up-
very nice color of blue.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so it's like
But like
But-
you know, yeah. I
Wait,
don't know.
here's okay.
I don't. That's my opinion. Is I've never been like, ugh, the sky's so boring.
It's so boring today.
Yeah.
I can. There's always something about it that I can be like, I appreciate
Yeah.
this.
So
It's like one of those things where it's like, always I can appreciate it, even when
Yeah.
I'm seeing ugly buildings that make me upset. I can look at the sky and be like, at least the
Billboards.
sky is really
it's the
nice.
skies there.
Yeah, as long as I don't get rid of the sky, I have something to enjoy.
So here's another thing. Since we're talking about, I guess, video game, again, maybe too polished, the curse of too polished, I don't know. But now we're talking about movies.
That's fine.
That's what happens.
There's
But-
definitely an overlap.
Same
you know,
principle.
there's
Yeah.
like aesthetic mentality.
Right.
Yeah, well here's my other examples. So first, I really
Casey putting proper thought into it.
I really like George Lucas, but you can see kind of you can see that happen where you've got early Star Wars versus
That which we
sequel.
shall not speak of.
No, the prequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually I really like the prequel trilogy too, but it is like an example of now we have like unlimited
Essentially
unlimited resources.
Yeah.
and it can be like as nice as we want. Again, like you were saying, like creators who are like, this can be my vision for reels now. because I like have
Right.
like every resource, or a one that's another example is like Ridley Scott with new Aliens movies, where it's like, now I can like execute my vision for reals.
Right.
And-
Realsies.
That's like less like a visual thing and more like a, if you watch new Aliens movies, they're like, you're like, what is this like philosophical garble? But
It's like I just want it to be scary aliens.
yeah, just versus like early, like how Alien is so gosh dang good,
Yeah.
and how first Star Wars trilogy is so gosh dang good, and it's kind of like working within like limitations. I don't know, having everything you want.
Well, then he remade his own original trilogy. He got carried away.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah,
when
he
he
like
put all the CGI
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
he made him. We can't afford.
Yeah,
Well,
like-
obviously, Harrison Ford's old now, so we can't refilm him walking around Jabba. So we have to like edit him walking onto his tail. That's fine.
There's all sorts of things
It's so bad.
with that. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't either.
Just
But
But-
it is. Yeah, when you suddenly have all this.
But then Disney buys it.
Oh yeah, we don't need.
We don't talk about that. How about this though? Actually, because Half-Life, the original Half-Life,
Oh yeah, that's a good
Did-
example.
it's so good. Even playing it now, like yeah, you have like literally like a 5-sided polygon with like pictures of people's faces stuck to wallpaper,
yeah.
and it's so bad, but it's so good, and it really punches this sort of uncanny aesthetic, like, which is what the series is. It's just like this scary idea of like some extra government organization trying to merge these two planets and like take over. I don't really know. Cause they'll never make Half-Life 3, but
It will never come to be.
but what was interesting too, though, is when they remade Half-Life, there was like a bunch of people that remade Half-Life with like more modern, closer to AAA standards.
Yeah.
It enhanced it incredibly.
Oh, okay.
Like it was scary and frightening when I first played the original, to the point where like 13, 14-year-old me was like, "Oh, this is too dark and scary, and I feel bad, and I think the spirit's gone now." And to like, now I can kind of appreciate the art of it, but like it was scary, and it did a really good job of telling its story despite like its really cruddy graphics. But then when they remade it, it just enhanced. It was like, yeah, it was a really good remake because it took advantage of all of the good things that good graphics can do, and it really felt like they brought the vision out, because I think they didn't change anything about the game itself. Like the terrain was all the same. There wasn't like extra stuff that they stuffed in to like, well, we really wanted to say this too, and they didn't. They let the poetry speak for itself, as it were, but just gave it the darkness that the theme really deserved. Is kind of how like that they couldn't before because of whatever limitations they had. But yeah, I think that's a really good example of something that both the original and the remake did a really good job of just being themselves and focusing on what made the game good and using good game design the second time around to make up and to learn from what the last decade had learned about game design to make it good and without cutting any of the stuff. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's super interesting.
I can't think of many other remakes that do that so well, actually.
Oh, what's the one Madeline's family loves?
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 4.
Ooh.
They remade that, and I'd say it probably enhances it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
But
good.
it's kind of like you said, they're not like changing personalities. They like tweak a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I only know this because I've watched that game played 500 times now.
It's on sale usually.
Yeah.
It's almost always on sale. Actually.
Yeah. Madeline.
90%, 97% overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Yeah, Madeline's dad played that when they were like little kids, and so they were like, she and her sisters were little girls,
Oh, man.
sitting on his knee watching Resident Evil 4.
Where you could only the forward was always forward no matter what direction the camera
Yeah.
was in.
But yeah, so they remade that. It looks nice. I'd say it enhances it, having had to watch both.
I never played either, so it's on
Yeah,
my
I've
wish
never
list,
never
but-
played them, but yeah, I've watched them. I've watched Madeline play both.
I
First
played
time
some
for
of
games.
4.
It's one of the things that makes me wish I had a full-time job again, just so I could come home and play games instead of come home and be home already and keep working.
It's
in home all the time.
it's a little weird.
I've decided to go to the library. I go to the library like Tuesdays and Thursdays
Oh, nice.
to like kind of give my wife space and myself just kind of an office mind.
Yeah.
But you can't do that because you have babies.
Yeah, no, as soon as I can like escape to some sort of office of my own in this distant magical fantasy future. But yeah, I'm also overworking. I'm over working at home. I used to kind of be like, whoa, this is like the ideal.
Yeah, I kind of felt, I thought, I was like, yeah, I just want to work from home so I don't miss any of my family life.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to miss my wife feels neglected because I'm staring at the computer all day.
Yeah. She's painting.
And I don't feel present either.
Yeah,
It's kind of frustrating.
It's weird because I have. Yeah, like you have to like you have to go to work, but you're also right there, so it gets interrupted constantly, and it's not very fun. I'm talking about with kids.
She's over here, Philip.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
But
You can show her she does.
what were we? Oh yeah, coming home and playing video games.
Oh yeah.
Get a little office like I did.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but
it might be. We should just chip in and get like a bigger office for all three of us.
we should just get Philip's warehouse,
Just get
Philip's
a.
warehouse.
and then Philip can fill every square inch of it with a different art medium.
That's
Slowly.
my goal.
Oh, okay. Here's what we really need to do.
You okay?
This is long term. We should do some stop motion stuff.
Stop motion.
Ooh, that would be
It's-
fun
It would be fun.
Yeah,
and grueling and
it's.
exhausting.
I
but
know. It,
fun.
and I'm serious about it, but I'm also serious about it, like in a. I don't know at what point that could ever happen since.
That's the
It'd be
thing.
fun to do.
Oh yeah, stop motions. I'm like consistently growing more and more in love with stop motion,
Mm.
just because you can't it has to be like a labor of love.
Mm-hmm.
If we had like a really cool idea and like got a Kickstarter, maybe we could like all quit our jobs. There was this guy. I
We
went
could
to
sell
the animation
Maki.
convention earlier this year, and he basically just disappeared for a year, and he did like a Patreon and Kickstarter and stuff, and he just made like this paper cut stop motion thing. It was really cool, and he had like a lot of followers, and it was really cool animation. It was really, really clever. I keep thinking about like that thing, like the whole distant future someday never thing that like I'm so tired of saying that.
You just kind of have to do stuff.
Right. And but how do you feel like you have the time to do that?
However,
How do you make the time to do that?
this is like a.
I mean,
complete
that's
different
what this
conversation.
is. I just
Right.
started doing this.
Yeah.
But you also have to.
You have to have a good idea.
Well, yeah, have a good idea, but you gotta, I would say, go with your circumstances in life to an extent too. Like, you have to
Yeah.
do stuff, but like I said, I've been like, I like don't have time in like a
Mhm.
really real way.
Yeah.
And it's been really hard on me for a long time, but I've had this, like, essentially, Madeline, when we talk about it, she's like, unfortunately, you just kind of have to wait until like when kids start going to school, suddenly your schedule's just gonna like open up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of because I'm like, I gotta do stuff now. I'm like going crazy, but
Yeah.
so it's, I don't know. There's like, yeah, you just have to like, you do have to just like make stuff, but there's also like, I don't know. If the circumstances really aren't there, then like being a little like upset about it, there's no, it's not like useful.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotta figure out like what you can do.
Yeah.
given the
And that's what like
circumstance.
having a full-time like regular job at a company would do for me in a sense.
Yeah.
It would just give me that time to leave work behind and work on what I want to if I want, or play games, or
And that's basically what I do.
And there's like a there's like a scope thing too,
yeah.
in that I'm always like, okay, well, I'm gonna go work on my like short film,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and what I need to do is something much like teeny tinier.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to like
I need to make
sketch or something. That's like
20-minute
all I've
game.
got.
A little watercolor painting.
Yeah.
I have a friend who I was like, dude, I'm sick of this grind. Let's make a game. And he's like, okay. And so he like, Dan, if you're listening, I love you.
Well, don't worry. No, there's
Nobody's
0
listening.
people watching right now.
Maybe somewhere Dan felt that in his heart.
He immediately starts suggesting like incredibly enormous scope game idea. It's like, it's a really cool, inspiring idea, and I would love to make it, but it's like, I was literally talking about making like a cat game where you're like a 5x5 pixel cat and you're like jumping through a thing and like collecting catnip or something. I just want to make a thing that isn't this. Like, this is a cool idea.
Just keep it simple.
It's like, can we make this like 20 minutes of gameplay? Sell it for like $1. Ah! Anyway, that's the thing, is like, it's hard to find collaborators too who aren't like kind of pie in the sky dreams.
Well, and it's just that it's always like a really tricky thing to pull off
Right.
without having like money to pay people.
Should we just
'Cause
like
it-
take out
Because it
$100,000
becomes a
loan?
thing where people's priorities diverge, and it makes it really hard to try and coordinate things and make it work.
Right.
That's the tricky thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like you just have to hope that everybody's priorities are such that you can make it work. But again, without something that makes it so that people can, again, being able to get paid to do it, to more or less guarantee that you can work on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just like, well, if it works, it works. If not, it might not. So,
Yeah, you have, it's like a sprint.
yeah.
Yeah, without being paid. You have to like hurry and make it, because
Mhm.
otherwise, unless everyone is,
Like, in a way, like, can manage to, like, sacrifice things to go for it.
yeah, because I couldn't keep up our
When we were working on the dodgeball.
our
game.
dodgeball for like, I mean, I don't have to go, but it's definitely my fault. We don't have to go into it, but for like, you know, like 4 or 5 different reasons, but
It was mostly just, like, just became, like, unfeasible.
yeah,
Essentially.
time-wise, the scope of it, which we had like a pretty, it was like a decent scope, but even it could have been, like,
I mean, I think,
yeah, if I had,
It was not too far off from
no,
doable.
no, again, that one, I dropped like 6 balls on that. Like, you know, I like didn't need to make those card games.
Mm-hmm.
You just
I'm,
kind of
like, trying-
overwhelmed yourself on accident.
Well, and
We had some ideas of what we wanted to do that was kind of. So we're like, oh, we could make like multiple things at once.
yeah,
Looking back, it's like that was a bad idea.
and we had super vague ideas.
Yeah.
Is there no way you could just like kind of revisit and like dial it in? So
If we'd want to, but
I don't
you
feel
don't
like
really
doing
want
that.
to.
no. I was gonna say if any sort of thing like that happened, I'd think
I'd rather just start over. With
Yeah,
the
I think
whole
our
new
in-
thing.
I think all sorts of interests. I wouldn't want to work on that either.
What exactly was it? A 3D game or 2D game?
Just
or-
2D.
Yeah, it's a little pixel art.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
that's
Okay.
the problem. It was really fun. Yeah, I did also. I learned how to do pixel art. It was super awesome.
Pixel art is so fun.
Yeah, I love pixel art.
So much.
I really enjoyed the like art learning process of that.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new skill, but like, I don't know. I've been doing like a lot of pixel art. Not a lot, but like more lately. Because it's just like, it's just fun. This is like there's a little cat game.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
This is the game I wanted to make, but then now we're talking about like, the moon is a spaceship and we're saving the world. And it's a puzzle game, and wow, we need a game designer and a puzzle thinking person. Anyway.
Don't do a puzzle game. That's my advice.
Unless you've got.
Unless you really
puzzle
know what
person.
you're doing,
But he's thinking like,
puzzles are really hard to make.
well, especially if it's like environmental puzzles, where it's like what is that game? The one where you're like a robot and you're in this sort of ethereal place.
Wally.
I don't know.
It's like
I know
really
what you're talking about.
really philosophical.
Oh yeah.
I know Talos Principle.
Talos Principle, yeah. Like he's been playing Talos Principle
It's
recently,
like, yeah, I
and so
want to
he's
make
like,
that.
I want to make that. And I was
It's like, good luck,
man,
because
Well, it's like
that's
okay.
like,
Come back with like complete outlines of the puzzles for me.
yeah,
yeah, if you-
Puzzles are
explain-
so hard.
yeah, it's like explain the puzzle stuff, because especially with something like, be like, oh, I want to make something on the level of Talos Principle.
yeah, no,
It's like,
you need dozens of people.
Well, because I want to
you
make
need
something.
people that are like dedicated puzzle crafters.
Yeah.
Because it's like its own discipline. And
Yeah.
it's deceptively tricky to come up with good puzzles.
Oh, it's grueling.
It's
Because I've tried. I've tried
It's
a lot.
logic. It's like
Yeah, but the
any
thing
puzzle
is
is a logic puzzle, and
yeah,
you
but
have
you
to
need
like,
to come up with like ways to make it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's puzzles are a thing.
they're tricky.
Yeah, because I essentially just want to make Myst, and that's not like Talos Principle. Like the puzzles are like integrated into the
Yeah.
gameplay.
But it's still a lot of work to
Oh
figure
yeah,
out.
I've like beat my head against a wall for years, essentially.
Trying to make
You've
'cause I
never
Myst, like
beaten Myst.
No,
oh,
trying
designing something
trying
like
to
that.
trying to like design outlines of games, because I have the aesthetic ideas, and then I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, I need to have like gameplay to go with,
Right.
and it's like I said, it feels like beating my head against the wall. That's how it feels like.
Yeah, it's
What were we talking about? I mean,
Game art.
game art.
Game art,
making
but
games.
yeah, making games.
Oh, before that,
Is
we're
that-
talking about having time to do things that
Yeah.
you want with your life, and
Oh yeah,
like all those
'Cause-
rich people on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we were doing Doctor Strange games, like we would make those
Ah.
games pretty quick. Yeah.
I know. Eliza exists.
Eliza, you were gonna say Wally too. I'm sorry. I don't know how many minutes ago you said that.
It was pretty. recent.
Welcome. Wait, do we have two people here?
Yeah, 2 people apparently.
Two
Welcome,
people. And
everybody.
what's the one? What does the one mean?
Chat.
I wonder if one of them is
We had
me.
one chat.
Oh,
One of them
nice.
might be you.
One of them might be me. I should probably.
Well,
Well, there was
I don't
zero.
think
It was
'cause
zero
it
a
was
minute
zero
ago.
at one point.
So
Yeah.
wait, that means if I turn YouTube back on, then it's gonna be 3.
Now it's gone down
Oh,
again.
You just stole one.
Just
They
Uh,
got scared and they ran away.
bummer. One watching.
Yeah, we'd make
But
those pretty
that-
fast.
That was pretty fun to do.
We should-
I really enjoyed doing that.
We could
actually.
almost do something like that again.
What
Just
if
do, like-
we did game jams,
Just do like a little one.
like real ones,
Because that was actually really
like the
helpful
the game a week
to
thing?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically limiting ourselves to usually about a week and a half. I think the most was like 2 weeks.
But honestly, even just like giving yourself the time. I mean,
Because we got pretty good at being able to like dial in something in a scope that we could do.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, so you could do some like really basic game in like a week, easy. I mean, it's still like a decent amount of work, but very feasible.
Yeah, very
And if you were to
feasible.
not-
And
Not do it like we were, where it was like
we love you,
like
Eliza.
consistent.
I'm sorry you're feeling blah, blah, blah.
Feeling cold.
Put on a sweater. Sorry.
What was I gonna say?
Scope week game.
Because yeah, we were doing it was like pretty consistent there for a bit, whereas like week after week. But if you're just doing like occasionally, it would be not that big a deal.
No.
But I mean, like a week, as
The-
we have learned, is probably not enough time to juggle all the things we have to juggle.
You
But
could
if we like gave ourselves
Yeah.
like
It's
2 to
enough
3
time.
weeks.
You'd be surprised.
Because again, it's all about being able to manage the time. So you're like, okay, I only have this much time.
Fund our Kickstarter, Eliza.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's make some stop motion.
Make a stop motion video game.
That would be really cool. Like a Neverhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you play that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Neverhood was
Set up
excellent.
like a little like green screen box that you can animate characters in.
Gosh.
That'd be fun.
I love.
Even if it was fake stop motion, like 3D art, but
no.
like
No, it's got to be real.
you want
It's
like
gotta be
It
actual
would honestly be
claymation,
probably faster to do.
the real thing.
Yeah, because then you just build a little character. You don't have to worry.
Yeah,
about
unless you have,
don't
like-
have to worry about rigging anything. You don't have to. Modeling is like literally just like build a little guy.
If you have like really
it
low,
can be kind of janky.
yeah,
whatever.
if it's janky, then
That kind of adds to it. And
Yeah,
actually trying to
gives it
make a
charm.
3D model kind
I-
of janky like it would be, it'd almost be harder.
that's true.
I don't even remember what it was, but I saw a little clip of it's like a little spooky, scary kid show. I will have to track it down again. Little man didn't want to watch it, but it was stop motion.
Mark Twain.
No, not Mark Twain. It was stop motion, but it was.
You're
it was
right,
like
Eliza.
it was real stop motion too.
I was being lazy.
But it was a TV show, so you could tell that they would have less of a budget, but they were just. So it was almost like, I don't know, we're used to seeing Leica,
Mm-hmm.
but it was almost like
3D printing everything.
it was almost like older, where it was way more choppy, but it was very charming.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they were like, the motion was not beautiful like a stop motion. It was like much more like old,
Like Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Yeah.
Reindeer. And,
but modern. It looked nicer than that.
yeah.
But like, I don't know where I was going with that. It was cool. It can be done.
It can be done.
It was, they were just. It was like the equivalent, whatever in the stop motion world. They were freaking animating on like fives.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it was just really like
Well,
choppy.
that's
but
the thing is you could do that.
yeah,
Like if you get your
'Cause
timing right, you can make it
it's-
look really good.
What you have, because that's like one of the things that you learn when you're doing those little game jams is you kind of have to make sacrifices because your time resource budget is very low. So you're like, oh, well, I can't do a whole animation sequence. At the most, it's like maybe I can do like 2 frames
yeah.
to get the general idea across. And so,
I could usually do the whole thing in like a couple hours.
yeah.
Like
Like-
just draw a whole supermarket and a couple characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost like art-wise, it's actually almost...
It's pretty chill.
The programming sometimes would take a bit.
Yeah,
Depending.
programming is always
But-
never as easy.
It kind of depends. But I enjoyed doing the programming on that because it was always like a little puzzle to solve. Where it's like, how do I make this work? It was pretty fun. Could do that though.
Yeah, it skips texturing and lighting, although then suddenly you have to be a cinematographer. Like you have to,
You have to have like a little actual physical studio.
yeah, you have to actually.
You still have lighting.
You have
too.
to understand how to light and then shoot, which
Yeah.
sounds like it. I mean, every part of it sounds like a charming
That'd be fun.
challenge. I really like
I mean,
the
I've
idea.
got lights.
I've got a light bulb.
Because I mean, if you wanted to set up like a little stop motion studio, you just need something like this,
Yeah,
which is, I mean,
we just have to. You
this
just
is
have to.
occupied at the moment.
Yeah, you
but-
just have to get your
But
Phillips warehouse so that a corner of it can be
Yeah.
stop motion.
Mhm.
I'd have a little stop motion booth
Yeah.
right there. So yeah, pretty much all you need is just like consistent lighting
Yeah, you just have to have it.
and like a camera that's just set up to do the work.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, you need a camera rig, but
That's easy. You just have a camera and like a tripod
yeah.
that will, and then just like a remote like.
Well, I mean, if you're making
Shutter?
like,
So you just have like a little Bluetooth thing,
mm-hmm,
and you just
right. I mean, if you're just making game art, not actually making the game. Obviously, you're not making a game in stop motion. Like,
you make a little like characters, stop motion characters.
just make animations, loops, and stuff.
Yeah, like really
Just-
basic.
Then you have to like import them and
Yeah, that's-
composite
not-
them into the
That's
engine.
not a big deal. That's not hard. I've done that
Actually,
plenty.
I'm gonna see if I can find like a making of the Neverhood because that was so cool.
Neverhood is pretty interesting. There's probably other stop motion games. that is-
That guy probably died.
Clay Fighter. Clay
Clay
Fighter.
Fighter.
Stop
Oh
motion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was that actually stop motion?
I think so.
Technically, Mortal Kombat was stop motion.
Sort
The
of,
original. They took.
Yeah. That's literally pictures of
I mean,
real people.
technically, animation is stop motion.
Oh,
Just taking pictures of pictures.
He's right. Here's what we do. Is we go and find the BYU multiplane camera they have, and we shoot a multiplane animation
Just
shot.
steal the little thing in there.
That would be pretty crazy though.
That'd be
'Cause
so
I-
cool to have like a multiplane, like multiplane game, like for your scenes. Having a multiplane setup.
Yeah, a real
Sick.
multiplane camera shot.
Somehow.
Hi, Tom and Piper. What, a claymation game?
No, the image of
The
image of getting
It's
attacked
like-
by
Oh,
being attacked by
By the-
Wizardry.
7
what are
lizards.
they? There's some
Orcs.
kinda-
Edric,
just a lizard
They just-
Kale, Kara.
monsters.
I love those like 80s
Yeah.
fantasy names. Amia,
Yeah.
Rowan. That's kind of normal, I guess. Elijah,
Kara.
Yeah.
Kale.
Cart with a C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a noisy picture,
Yeah.
though.
I know.
That's like, it kind of fits with what we were talking about earlier. That's like wizardry.
There's wizardry.
6?
6. There's 6 of them.
There's 8 of them.
Should name our
But
kids Edric.
it's like how like, so the wizardry games are kind of like, they are like the origin of all RPGs.
Oh,
Like the first one came out in like '82.
really? Was it a DOS game?
No, it was like a.
Before DOS.
It was like a
Basic.
something like that. It was like
I don't know.
really old, but and it was like, I don't have a picture of it, but it was basically all text. But there was like a little tiny box in the corner that had like kind of graphics in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like the first graphical RPG,
Dang.
and it kind of a lot of the things that they came up with in that first one basically every RPG that's come into existence since then incorporates elements from it. And it was kind of weird. I tried playing the first one, and I was like, this is like basically Diablo. But like way harder. But anyway, I just love it because it's like the graphics on it are so hectic, and it's like hard to tell what's going on, but it kind of adds to the feel. Like, what's funny in this one, the one that's up on the screen, is in it, like, you start out in a castle, but you go into like mines, and you go into like a jungle, and you're up on top of mountains and stuff, but all of the terrain just looks like the inside of a castle. The only time you like get any hint is like sometimes you like come across something, and I'll have like in the text box it'll be like, you came across a dead body on the ground. It's like, what do you do with it? And it like will like describe the environment, but like nothing about. There's like very few things that like distinguish anywhere, and it makes it very confusing and maze-like. Because there's no in-game map. And all the terrain looks the same, but it kind of adds to the feel of it. Because you're like getting turned around, and you're like lost. It's a little bit spooky, and so it kind of fits with like, they're like, really it was is they couldn't like get a good way to like have space to have like
Right.
all the different environments. So there's like, we're just gonna have the one environment and then have different things and say different stuff about it. And
Are you talking about like a JRPG
Tom,
or
that's what Tom said.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Tom.
Which
like turn-based
depends on the
or
RPG.
It does
action
depend,
RPG?
but classic
Dungeons and Dragons?
Final Fantasy
Well, yeah.
Turn-based stuff.
turn-based is like wizardry. It's
Pokemon.
Wizardry combat is basically that.
It's pretty dreadful. I'm not a fan,
yeah. The thing that
personally.
So he prefers action RPG.
No, he wants to play Spider-Man.
That's an action RPG.
Well, I
Yeah.
think
If you strip it down, it's basically your
I guess.
It's an action
Basically.
RPG.
Though with wizardry though, it's like there's so much like going on in like the background of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like
JK.
all this stuff is like very complicated going on with it because it has like all these different stats with all the different attacks and weapon types, and it's like, again, any RPG you can think of is like some sort of essentially reduced version.
Huh.
So like if you play it, you're like, oh, I can see Pokemon in this.
Yeah.
It's like I can see Final Fantasy battles in this. You're like, oh, I can see Diablo in
You're
this.
like wizardry.
And
I can
it's weird
I can see your children in your
because it's very different and like janky, but you're like, oh, this is where this came from.
Well, it's kind of like my
It's like
art
this
style.
is
You can
where
definitely
like
see.
all this stuff for like, it's like very weird.
Hmm.
You're like, it's like a. I mean, we talked about it, I think, a few months ago.
Yeah.
Where I just mentioned it's like, because nothing like it really existed. I mean, it takes a lot of stuff from like D&D, I guess, like concepts. But because nothing like that really existed in like computer form, they kind of had to like invent it all. And then because they were the first ones, everything else was like, oh, these guys did the thing. They like kind of set the standard,
Right.
more or less.
They invented the
inadvertently.
standard.
The closest thing is like Ultima. Ultima was kind of the
10.
turned into like Skyrim and stuff, where it's like you're just a single guy going around doing an adventure, whereas this is like you have your party of people.
Right. Right.
So any RPG that where it's like you've got a party pretty much is some sort of essentially derivative of it.
Yeah.
It's
I mean-
interesting. I don't necessarily recommend playing the game because it is like rough.
Like in.
It's kind of fun with like how like grueling it kind of is.
That's
And
the
how,
kind of
like-
thing you're into.
Yeah, if you're like into like figuring out how to even play it,
If you're like a dwarf fortress
But-
connoisseur.
basically. It's like really involved, but it's like not forgiving at all. It's like if you like your character gets like if a character gets like poisoned, you're like, well, I guess they're dead now.
I guess they're dead.
Because there's like finding like antidotes for poison is like incredibly rare, and it's like actually a fairly common thing to have happen. But
Can you die of dysentery? Kind of. Edric died of dysentery.
Any number of gold rush diseases.
Oh.
Alright.
Monkey's gonna
Stay
escape.
here, monkey. Don't run
No,
away.
you won't escape, Mark. You can't. There's too many businesses.
Man, she really does want to explore.
There's not a whole lot. It's a pretty boring building, to be honest.
Yeah, she would have fun though. She's a small. It's big to
She's
her.
a small creature.
She had a lot of fun when I took her to campus at BYU. She would run in the hallways and stuff. It was super cute. I don't know, man.
Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy X. I stopped caring much about Final Fantasy after number 7. FF8 like tried to be like this sort of drama thing that I just was not invested in the romance. It was just like, what is this? I didn't. Plus, it was just like I had come. This is interesting and actually relevant to the conversation that Final Fantasy VII had such a charm that when they switched to making their characters more quote unquote realistic, it turned me off from the game. Like, I genuinely thought that FF8 was trying too hard because of, it's like, I think there was a gap between how the characters felt as animated characters and the realistic features and proportions and stuff, and it was just kind of off-putting to me, and I didn't like it. I was like, Final Fantasy is great, but I was also 14 and like the kind of kid who was like, it's stupid if it's not the thing I like, so I was pretty immature.
RPGs aren't for everybody, though.
No.
I'm not like a huge fan of them.
And
Like, it's one of those things where if I find one I really like, I'll really enjoy it. But most of the time, like, I'm just like, I'll get to almost be like, I don't feel like investing time in it. Because they're definitely something that you have to, like, invest into it.
they're incredible time sinks.
Yeah,
What?
like, you can't,
They're RPGs, no.
they're very much not like a pick it up and play it a bit sort of a deal.
Yeah, they're always like really.
It's like if you're playing an RPG, it's like that's what you're playing until you're done.
Until you're dead.
And that's another thing that kind of disappeared with older games, is that now you have to have this really fleshed out world with religion and culture and lore that's discoverable so that people can have like a more immersive experience. But for a perfectionist, it just makes it torture. It's just like, well, you gave me, I have to collect 80 of this thing that's scattered all over this massive 50-kilometer world.
Collection.
And again, 50 kilometers is pretty big, right? So, like, I don't know, how big was Skyrim?
How big is Hyrule?
Hyrule was big, but Link also has unlimited stamina, and he can, like, run across it in 20 minutes, so. That's this thing. I noticed about how, like, everything looks the size it should be, but you can climb it in 5 minutes. Like, what's up with that? I don't know. Anyway, but
Probably, what?
What? I don't know. It's just frustrating to me.
It should be realistic.
like games.
Like if you want to go to the top of the mountain in a Legend of Zelda game, it should take like 5 hours of hiking.
It's like just going to the Y is about a half-hour hike. Imagine going halfway up a mountain and it takes an actual half hour. In a game.
That's without a trail.
I remember Skyrim was really proud of that. It's like you can go all the way over there, and it takes you as long as whatever. But
I mean, that should be. We should totally game. It should just be Real Hike Simulator.
Stop motion.
Stop.
just
Stop motion
steal
hiking
just steal
simulator.
Google topological data and just make the real world. And it's like you can go on this hike. It's all just flat textures on like.
Or it could be like that wizardry texture, and it's just like this, yeah.
FF10 is not
Like,
that
Tom-
fun.
What is?
FF10 is not very fun.
Tom fell asleep during one of the
Also-
cutscenes.
Yeah, if you're risk falling asleep, probably don't even play like a JRPG.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, if it's not a cutscene, it'll have long dialogue blocks.
That's another thing.
Those drive me crazy.
That's another thing that like came in with the advance of the next stage of JRPGs. Like so, Final Fantasy VII, it's turn-based, great, fine. The cutscenes were action clips usually, or just kind of like cinematic bits, but like all of the dialogue was part of the story, where you didn't have like people who are talking for you or actively engaged. And yes, you can fall asleep with that stuff, but now it's like, hey man, computers can do amazing stuff. Let's just put this all into like this 5-minute narrative cutscene, and it's just like that end. I hate this so much, but like the anime tropes that come with every JRPG game now. It's like you have to have the bubbly cute girl and the serious quiet girl and the stoic dude with lots of weaponry, but he's actually a little bit girlish. It's just like
And then you just have you have the hungry guy.
the hungry guy, and he's
It's
also
a personality, like archetype.
That's a deep and
Apparently.
timeless archetype. It's called Scooby Shaggy.
Kinda, yeah.
It's just I don't know.
But in anime, there has to be some character where it's like their main personality trait is that they eat food.
They eat food, and they talk about it.
Yeah.
And they,
There's always some character like that.
oh man, I'm hungry. You ate a half hour ago. Yeah, but that was a half hour ago.
Laugh track.
Thanks, Goku.
Thanks, Goku.
No, that exists. I blame Goku.
I blame Goku for the food trope guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't that more of a Goonies thing?
Goonies.
I don't know. There's a fat kid, right? He's like always
No,
hungry.
but like in anime,
Oh, anime.
You don't
there's
think
probably something before.
you don't think it's
before
Scooby Shaggy?
Goku.
Scooby Shaggy all pervasive throughout the universe?
I don't know. Usually, anime don't have like the fat guy who eats food and everyone laughs about it.
It's Shaggy. He's not.
He's not fat.
He's not fat.
They're never a fat guy.
Well, he's a teenager. He's burning all his calories,
always-
hunting ghosts.
But like the character that's like that in animes is never like fat guy. It's like usually just like some random, just normal guy or girl. It's just like, oh, I love food. Man, I'm hungry. And there's always a gag of
Sorry, I laughed really loud.
people like talking and they're like, hey, where's so and so? And they're like eating a ham or something and they're like, oh,
What?
yeah,
Like halfway through a bite and like freeze frame.
yeah.
I don't know, man.
Anyway,
Just bringing it back though. Money killed the everything industry. People wanting. That doesn't bring anything back to anything. But that one thing we were talking about. Sorry, I got.
it's the convenience
Yeah.
of like how to approach a thing.
Yeah.
That's my ongoing contention is it's things, people seeking convenience. that causes that.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you'll end up with like these like trope things because it becomes that's the convenient thing to make.
right.
Because it's like, oh well, there's this thing that everybody already understands, so we're just gonna rehash that.
And like,
In anime, it will be like a whole like character archetype that just is repeated over and over.
Yep.
It's particularly noticeable in that context because it's almost like everything has to have all of them.
Yes.
Because I mean, an archetype is something that does get repeated anyway. That's the whole point. But I feel like in anime, it's almost like everything has to have all of the archetypes in it. So everything like kind of
Yo, guess what I got?
blend very.
I got a Sam
Guess.
quote from
Sam
Sam, the
what?
animation professor.
Ooh.
Sam
Samuel Adams.
Nielsen.
Nielsen.
I was like, I don't remember his last name. Like Sam Johnson, the animation professor. Just kidding, Sam. What did he say? That what stereotypes are just tired archetypes, I think. So it's
What's
like
the difference with
things are like
stereotype?
useful.
Mm.
He uses an example of like a mad scientist, like it's like a useful like a metaphor in its own time.
Right.
Right, you're like, oh, we've discovered all this science. It's like, it's like 1890,
Yeah.
and we've discovered all the science, and we can see how it could get out of control or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes like, I don't think he said archetype. I think he said metaphor. I think he said it's a worn out metaphor.
Mm.
It just becomes.
it's 1920 and we've discovered all the things. And
Yeah.
This is how it can go wrong. It's 1980 and we've discovered.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get like like a mad scientist. It's like it like actually comes realistically out of what's going on, but then you have it and you're like, okay, well now we just like
Well, it just becomes like it's the pastiche thing.
Right.
Where it's a remake. It's a rehash of a rehash of a rehash
Well,
of an idea.
and I get that every story that ever could be told it already has been, in a sense, and every story is just a reskin of other stories. I get it. It's just that there's something frustrating to me about like when like Yukari and we watched Elemental, that Pixar movie. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen it?
I've seen.
And it's
Two
just
thirds
like
of it.
they could not choose their theme. Is how it felt. Like this is the absolute. This is what Pixar decided to spend millions of dollars on. Like you don't do this unless it's your best idea. Right. Like so, what do you like? Is there literally no other better ideas than this?
No, it was. The
But again,
best
it's
idea
not about the
ever.
best idea. It's about the one they think is going to make the most money. Which
Or is it?
Where is it?
Who
And
kno-
that's
there's
the
all
thing.
sorts of
You know what else sells? Good
reasons.
ideas.
yeah.
Like so, either where there's no good ideas, or nobody cares about them.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. It depends on what they were going for, I guess.
I
Or
guess.
maybe they just didn't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
I never saw that one,
Yeah,
but
it's an interesting thing to critique. It's interesting to watch it in comparison with what makes this movie good and what makes it bad and what makes other movies better than it. It's a really interesting metric of like film. in a
well, because
sense.
it's a Pixar movie, right?
Well, yeah.
And so it's but so
It doesn't by default make it any good though.
no, but
obviously.
it's like when Madeline sat me down and showed me Luca years and years ago.
I love Luca so much.
I like Luca, but after I watched it, I was kind of like, huh. It's like all your older siblings are like astronauts and brain surgeons, and you're like,
Sorry, that is the sound
You're
of
a
Maki's
manager
butt
at
being patted.
McDonald's.
yeah, you're a manager at McDonald's. Like, You're like, there ain't no shame in it.
Wait, what do you mean?
Just that Luca's like
Compared to like what
compared to like there's like a standard
like a
like a
Toy Story or
like all of Luca's older brothers are astronauts.
Wait,
And,
Are you
So I'm
talking about the
saying
fish
Luca-
kid?
yeah,
The mermaid
no,
Luca?
I'm saying the
like
movie
the movie as like conceptually
being in the Pixar family.
Oh.
Like I
Oh, I
like
was like-
Luca, but sorry.
Yeah,
You
we're-
weren't describing the story at all. It's like, this is another different Luca that I didn't know about.
Like I like the part when the FBI agent goes to knock on the door and you realize that she's at Buffalo Bill's house.
And
Um,
Luca was this
But
decisions you made along the way.
and when you realize that
Tiny,
that
tiny.
Hannibal Lecter got away,
Okay, so
so
in
I
terms
like-
of
I like
the
Luca,
movie- okay.
but Luca felt like a very like if Luca had come out of DreamWorks, I wouldn't have like bat an eye. Like it felt like a very like small, cute little cartoon.
I think that's why I liked it so much.
I mean, it's a good movie. It's just like, I was just saying, the whole point of, I guess what I was saying is it's in relation to other Pixar movies.
right.
It felt like this like,
Well, it doesn't carry any of the themes.
yeah.
There's no romance. There's just friendship. Like there's the like you can kind of see how which one is the older boy?
I don't
I
remember.
don't remember. Anyway, you've seen it, right, Philip?
Nope.
You haven't seen Luca? Anyway, he kind of like has a little bit of a crush, or no, he doesn't have a crush. He's just jealous
Yeah.
of losing. He doesn't want to lose a friend. I love that about Luca. How like you're right. It doesn't feel like a Pixar movie, and that's what makes it great to me. That's what Pixar movies used to be, because every Pixar movie, every
That's a
new
good point.
franchise was a new story that no one had ever seen before. We don't need Toy Story 6. Is it 5? I don't know how many. They're making another one that's coming out in like 2 more years, but like we didn't need that. It's a cool story, and it's made me cry. And the newest one is still a good story, and it's interesting, but it's like that again. Like Pixar used to be. The next Pixar movie was, what is this one gonna be about? And whoa, it's not toys coming to life. What was the second Pixar movie? Like Ants.
Yeah.
It's about
And-
ants coming to life.
You know, back then that didn't fit in the Pixar world because there was no Pixar world. It was just
You're right.
stories.
You're right. That's a good point.
But now it has to be in the world. It has to fit into Disneyland.
Oh man. I mean, they came out with a letter. I guess not. We don't need to dwell on this because it's a sad topic. It's off topic, sort of.
Okay.
But I guess they came out with a letter because they were. I think I don't know either, but I think they were doing something where it was like these more, like kind of, personal autobiographical films. Because there's Luca,
Mhm.
there's the one about the panda bear, the red panda,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
turning red. Got it.
Turning Red.
Luca turning red, and then there was
Elemental is also
yeah.
kind of.
Elemental. There are 3 that are like pretty like personal stories,
Mm-hmm.
and they came out with like a letter where they're like, oh well, that wasn't really working, so we're going back to like franchise based stuff. I don't know.
That is sad.
It's super sad.
It's like, what do they mean by not working? It's just people aren't attracted to
wasn't-
them as much.
Wasn't making money. It's probably half the whole like.
I guess it's Moana 2 then,
I know.
which I'm kind of excited for. Moana 1 was pretty good.
I mean,
I'm interested in seeing what they do with it. I
I'm
hope they
not
don't
excited.
just destroy it.
none of those are any good. I mean the sequels.
Yes.
I also like.
So
Moana.
I guess my word is I'm apprehensive.
Yeah.
Because they did a really good job with the first one, and it feels like they know that it carries a lot of weight. Unlike Frozen. Frozen did not need a sequel
The Return of
by
Jafar.
any stretch. Return of Jafar. Yeah, the Disney sequel era.
Yeah.
We re-entered it, haven't we?
Mm.
Now it's the remake era and the sequel era. It's like
Yeah.
All at once.
all at once.
It's
All at lunch.
converging.
We're back in 1999
We've gotten
with
back
better computers.
to straight to VHS,
Yeah.
except
It goes
Laserdisc.
straight to
Except it's
streaming.
worse because now it's like can be done at like a beyond industrial scale,
Right.
and it's like seeped beyond just Disney. It's like everybody's doing it.
Yeah. Because everyone's
Straight to
trying to follow the
stream.
trends. I hate
It's just-
trends. Just stop.
Yeah, it's
I want more Luca. I want more. No, I don't want more Luca. I want more things like Luca. I want the junky, wannabe astronaut stuff. Because they're heartful. Like Elemental tried really hard to be heartful.
Hurtful.
Heartful. But it was kind of hurtful. It's like, give me my hour and a half back, please. I don't know. That's probably for another episode of They Discussed It in Tea.
We could just have a whole. Maybe we should just make it about movies.
Just movies.
Because whenever we have
Well,
a
it kinda
guest, we just
gravitates,
talk
doesn't
about
it?
movies.
Does it?
I mean, when Tom was here for the music episode, I think for about half of it we talked about movies. We just talk about movies.
It comes up a lot.
It's because movies are cool.
Well, they offer a lot of insight into kind of everything, in a sense. Just like, because every subject is somehow tied to some kind of industry, and like if we're talking about like ancient paintings, that was an industry back then. So we're talking about games; it's part of an industry that's related, and just how they influence each other and stuff. I think coming back to movies is really normal.
It's similar to architecture in the sense that it's essentially like a good like tell for like the sort of state of a culture
Mm.
because it's essentially a grand project. Because that's the thing is what's interesting with architecture. It's not something that just like casually comes into existence. It requires like the effort of many people.
It's a big project.
It's a big project, and
Mhm.
so being able to tell like what kind of care and consideration goes into that, you can kind of tell almost like the spiritual health of a society by like what kind of architecture it produces. And I'd say film's a similar thing because yeah, you could make a film by yourself. You can do it on a small scale, but a lot of it's like something that requires many people doing many different jobs. Requires a lot of people to be involved outside of just the production, but it's like the funding of it and
Right.
it extends well beyond just an individual or even just the craftsmen and artists involved in it. It involves like essentially the whole society to some extent for a film to come into being. Same thing with like a building. Video games kind of fit into that too. That it's yeah, you can make a video game by yourself or with a small group, but most of the time it requires much more than that. And even with video games, much of that is also dependent on like things like Steam or GOG or something for even distribution.
Some kind of.
So even if you do it by yourself, it's still you're connected into like a whole like infrastructure that involves like thousands of other people. Otherwise, what you're doing can't exist. But yeah,
That's a great
But-
thought.
That is interesting. Movies are.
they're in that it's like this like cultural grand project to produce.
So they're always going to come up.
Well, they tell you a lot because of how like comprehensive across like kind of the like human capital of a society that you have to draw on to produce it.
Right.
So you kind of get an idea of like all sorts of facets that get involved with it.
And also on the other side, they're widely seen by everybody.
Yeah.
So we can
Same
all
with it's like a building. Everybody
Yeah.
sees a building.
Right.
You can't not see it if you're near it. So it's like, then yeah, films are just so pervasive and a common point of interest for many people.
Or we can just have an episode where you are forbidden to talk about movies. And if anyone ever brings a movie up, there's immediate punishment.
They have to.
Maki gets to punch them.
She's just like waiting.
When she came over to see me a second ago, I was scared. I was like, "Oh, here, I'm gonna get punched."
She just tapped you.
She's saying hi.
No, she couldn't get to my face. That was the thing. She was doing the calculation. She's like, "I can't get up there to punch
She's
his
like,
face."
You're the person whose water I would knock over all the time.
Oh, that's right. So you were a cute, playful kid.
I remember you.
Yeah,
Her whole head fit in the cup.
Yeah, that was. She was like, I need to get in this water. I need to get in this water right now."
Now she just goes like this in the water bowl. Fish, 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 fish. And she makes a mess and she looks at people while she does it. Good talk.
Yeah.
Game's good. Keep playing games.
No.
We should make games.
Yeah, let's do that. Actually.
I would be more than happy
Game
to
jam would be fun.
make
Yeah, I
little
think
bits of art for things, especially if it's simple and gonna be on the side. It'd be just nice to have something to do that's not entirely self-driven.
Oh
If
yeah.
that makes sense. But also not like related to everything I'm always saying. Are people just politely avoiding that pretzel bit? Should I just?
I don't want
should
it
I just
anymore.
take it?
You can take it.
Do you want to fill it?
You can go for it.
Thanks.
I had a couple chunks off that one.
Yeah, I had my chunks.
If anybody's listening, say something trendy in the chat.
Something trendy.
Say something trendy. Say it. Say what the kids these days
Say
would
the
say.
words. Say Rizzler.
Oh man, I'm so. I'm absolutely unconnected, and so I have to like. I become like a grumpy old man every time Madeline says anything that like I don't understand. I'm like, what was
So
that?
skibbity.
Yeah, what was that thing that you said? Oh.
I remember there was this time that I wanted to do some kind of something that would allow me to stay in the know with how language evolved.
Oh.
That's not very skibbity of you, Piper.
Piper, don't be
Don't be a beta.
a hipster.
Beta's old. What is it? Sigma.
I don't know.
No, Sigma's good though.
Well, then what do you do? Don't be a chump, Piper. Don't be a rube.
A rube.
A
A
maroon.
dweeb.
I know. you're like.
I still really like
Bring old words back.
dweeb is a very good word.
You just have to go down
Dingus.
like the Bugs
Yeah.
Bunny, like what a maroon. What a.
Maki's saying hi.
Maki's like, if I could see your face, I'd punch it.
Yeah, I don't know why she's so angsty lately. But she seems happy here. She has her old uncles back for a hot second.
Yeah, she looks like she wants to punch us.
We're gonna see how much she wants.
No, I don't want to get punched. No.
Yeah, she's gonna punch.
It's the meanest thing anyone's ever done to me recently.
I'm sorry.
Threaten me with a cat.
For never visiting.
You know, she's like calm but like kind of grumpy.
Yeah, it's weird. She's purring, but like
Yeah, I mean, I've been planning to like series of unfortunate event her for a while, like kill you and arrange to adopt you so I could steal her fortune.
Maki says hi, Pipes. She dares you to say that to her face.
Say hi, Maki.
Hmm.
You can't really see Maki right now.
Piper said hi, Maki.
Oh yeah, but say that to her face, or
Oh yeah, Maki says hi back, and she says say it to my face.
oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I had to explain the joke. It makes it less funny, but Mikey, okay? You happy to not have a little gremlin running around? She's not a gremlin. The other cat we have is such a sweetheart. It's
Yeah.
like impossibly cute.
Though you're saying Maki might think she might be a little bit of a gremlin.
Yeah, Maki definitely thinks she's like the worst news on the planet.
Yeah.
Maki's personality has kind of changed recently. She's so happy when I take her outside on like little mini walks, and
Uh-huh.
she's so happy. Then I start taking her back in, and she's growling and hissing and punchy and hating the whole world.
She's like a toddler.
Right? She knows she's going back inside. It's like, I don't know if it's because she knows there's another cat there, or if she just loves being outside so much. I will never know because she's a cat and I cannot ask her.
But someday when you go to live on your farm, she can be finally happy.
You know, I wouldn't let her outside because then she'd get eaten by coyotes and eagles.
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 Like there goes Maki.
There goes Mikey. That is one thing that makes me hope for an afterlife. So
Maki.
maybe I can talk to my cat. What do you think?
Well, she turns out to be a bad conversationalist.
She's like,
You're like, hey
I don't
Maki.
really
She's
have
like,
much to talk to you about.
yeah.
She just punches you.
She just did like a kung
Doesn't say
fu.
anything.
You're like, how you doing, Maki? She's like, I'm good. Oh,
Busy.
no.
Good
perfect
night,
night.
Pipes.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out.
I know.
It is past the midnight.
Pretty
It
late.
might be.
Have you guys-
We seem to hit the lull. Although.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long does this usually go? 3 hours?
It can go
Until
long.
it just
It's
runs
been
out.
a while before.
This is pretty average, I'd say.
Yeah.
My brother
It's-
brought me Helldivers.
I haven't even.
It's pretty fun.
It's so.
I haven't even seen.
You're a space Nazi.
I know the premise.
Oh, okay.
I know it all from words and not from actually having even. I've never even seen like
Okay.
a screenshot of it. I just hear people.
Play it with Ellie sometimes.
Do you want to watch the intro?
No. I'll go home and.
My brother has been playing it a lot. And he got it for me. It is a lot of fun, and I have never played a game that makes you feel so much like you are actually in a war zone. I'm so impressed with how well they did. Like, because like the things you kill in it don't die they're not so difficult to kill. Like,
But
you
there'll
know,
be like a bajillion of them.
like there's heavies and stuff, but you're like
Yeah.
and they take extra firepower, which is normal, but like, so there's so many of them, and it's just chaos, explosions, and flying bullets, and it's just insane, and it's so much fun. And I have no time for it.
Yeah, I don't play video games
Yep.
because of time.
I'll play FTL every once in a while. I'll play it for like a little bit.
Hey,
It's actually a
FTL,
great
I've
game
played
to
that
like
forever.
sit down and like do a run.
I played FTL like 2 days ago, and I played it. This is. I used to play Dota for like 8 hours.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I played it for like an hour into the night, and I wanted to like die the next day, but it was so much fun.
FTL's great.
I rented I guess it's not rented.
Rented.
I checked out Into the Breach from the library and played it for a hot second. Did you ever play
Check
that?
it out.
Into the Breach.
I have it.
Yeah, the library has a bunch of games you can check.
Yeah, the library has games. It's cool.
What system is it for? Switch.
Switch.
Oh, for Switch. I have
Into
it for
the Breach.
PC.
Yeah,
It's the same people.
it's FTL's. Yeah, that company's second
It's just
game.
like a tactics game.
It was re-
It's a lot of fun.
It was
I'll check
really
it out.
good. Not quite as unforgiving as
No,
FTL. FTL's brutal.
it's really good though. I like Into the Breach.
That's funny because yeah, Into the Breach made me want to play FTL, so I've played FTL once or twice in the last FTL's so good.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking of FTL as far as graphics, it's really delightful, but it's not like
I wouldn't call it like a pretty game.
yeah. Well, and also it's not like it's interesting in the sense that my imagination's not like filling in the gaps of like a space fight. Really, I'm not like oh wow, this like space fight that I'm in. with this
Yeah.
ship zooming around. You're just kind of like doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like a game where you could theoretically play it on a spreadsheet, basically.
Yeah.
Like if you had just like a list of like
Go to A5.
numbers, basically of the stats of things and like the guys, you could basically just be looking at like a grid of numbers, and it would probably be as fun.
Yeah.
Like the graphics actually don't matter that much, because a lot of it's just like, oh, the timing of it and all that.
Oh no, a frog. Good thing there's no more pretzels for the frog to eat.
But
Yeah.
it's a good like sit down and play a little bit, because like one run, even if you like go through all the way to the finish, isn't that long.
No, it takes about an hour.
Yeah.
Cause I
And
got
usually the run's shorter than that. Usually
yeah. Cause that was
something
me
happens.
getting to the end and then dying.
Yeah.
My therapist introduced me to this app called Milky, MILKI, and I forgot what the name of the method is, but basically what it is this it's Pomo something, I don't remember, but basically
Pomodoro.
Pomodoro.
Is that
Basically,
what it
it's
is?
25 minutes on and 5 minutes off.
Yep.
Yeah, and the idea is you work for 25 minutes and you do 5 minutes of whatever you want. And so what I've done with this is I've been able to play games a little bit over the
FTL would
last
be good
couple
for that,
days. Yeah,
actually.
Actually
FTL.
would be good.
You just do 5 little minutes of segments, and it's like it's literally just a timer, but like, and
Because you can just let FTL sit. In fact, you can save it and
Right.
come back to
you
it.
just you just alt tab, hit escape, pause it,
Yeah.
alt tab, and then you come back to it every 25 minutes.
Because it just sits there.
Yeah, and it's
Most
really
of the time.
interesting that I was kind of like
Heroes
almost
would
feeling
be another good game for that.
Heroes.
Heroes of Might and Magic.
Oh,
'Cause it's
yeah.
just any turn-based
Yeah.
game. Civilization.
Or any game that you can just pause, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you are able to like, I'm really bad at it, which is why my therapist recommended it to me. He's like, I'm just really bad at time management, and so I go on really long streaks of just like staring at Reddit because I just can't handle the idea of another hour of working sometimes. But like for some reason with that little break, it's been a lot easier to just ignore Reddit
Mhm.
and just go from work to a thing that I enjoy and then back to
Mhm.
work. It's been nice.
Interesting.
So it's kind of helped work be not so grueling. So I recommend it if you're into that. Again, it's literally just a 5-minute timer. But it's easier than like setting up timers on an iPhone. It's just a thing. It's really nice. MILKI. For all you other time management challenged fans out there.
Yeah, yeah. For all our listeners, one listener might even just be Jason who logged in. I don't know,
I think it's
unless
a
unless
Whoever it
stranger
is
out
is
there
insane.
who randomly came
I don't
across
know.
a table and was interested in watching.
this
Looking
is
at a plate
this is very aesthetic.
that
with
used to
napkins.
have pretzels.
Oh,
on it.
and a frog.
And a frog.
It keeps.
Where did that come from?
And there's a cat somewhere in this room.
Someone.
And theoretically, we're talking about the aesthetics in video games. Sometimes.
We keep coming. We circle back.
Yeah, we hit we have like a deep thought and then a. I mean, we had a
I'm a
deep
shallow thought.
and then a shallow thought. 25 deep thoughts, 5 shallow thoughts.
I like what you've done to the place.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It feels a little more like a home, kind of. Which is not what you expect an office to feel like, and it's kind of nice.
I don't want it to feel like an office.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have a little cubicle.
Just set up a little cubicle in this corner.
Yeah.
The computer.
And you got like little like Dilbert cartoons and stuff.
How do you know that that's the exit? That's what I'm wondering.
They know what
Where
doors.
else
They
is
know
the
what
exit?
doors are.
Oh yeah.
She was exploring
She's seen
over
doors
by
her
that
whole life.
door.
Yeah,
earlier.
cats are door specialists.
They
Cats know what doors
they
are.
intuitively know what a door is. doors.
Yeah, they
Even
understand
before
that,
doors existed.
that if only they could go through that door, they could get to the wonderful thing on the other side, which is outside.
Speaking of cats, there's the game Exploding Cats.
Yeah.
So there's a Netflix series.
I'd
Exploding
heard of
Cats.
such.
I did not think at all that it would be even remotely interesting. But the story is that God is told that you're bad at your job and you need to learn some empathy, and so he's turned into a cat. And he comes down to earth as a cat to a family to learn how to actually answer people's prayers. And also, there's Beelzebub, who is bad at her job, and so she's also turned into a cat. And it's interesting. It's actually, I did not expect it to be any good, because it just feels like on the surface like just another one of those weird adult shows.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it felt, but like it's kind of interesting and witty.
On the other side of things, my daughter keeps latching on to those kids' TV shows that are solely to make money.
Cocomelon and stuff.
No, what I should say is sell merchandise. Kind of
He-Man.
well, it's like. So it's called
Sheila.
Well, she's had a couple of them, but the one she watched the last couple days, it's called Monster Wheelies. And so what we've got here,
What?
it's been a fascinating, and like I've been trying just not to be like grouchy and like make her change it. But so what we got here is you have the universal monsters, right? Like Frankenstein.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, so you turn those into like rescue vehicle cars.
Can they make their own freaking monsters?
So you turn them into rescue vehicle cars.
Like ambulances and stuff?
Yeah, like there's one that's like Frankenstein's a fire truck, right?
Oh my
And so the show, what it
God.
is it could be like any rescue vehicle, cool, sell toys to kids show, and it just has these like monster skins, and that's it. There's no like they don't act like Frankenstein doesn't act like Frankenstein. They all just have like the generic like oh no, there's trouble, let's go. Like they have like the most generic voices of all time.
So no personality?
Oh, their personalities, they're all like Ninja Turtle personalities. They're like I gotta go fast
Guys, why aren't we making this stuff and being rich?
because we don't own
Monster-
we don't own Frankenstein franchises. we need a franchise. How about Maki the cat, the franchise?
This is like
So there's
it's like if
there's like nothing besides the models. The models are like vaguely monster-esque. Like Frankenstein's the only one that looks
they give him
really
hands.
yeah. And the whole show.
But they don't act like the characters.
Oh,
they
not
are.
at all. No, they like I said, if
It
it was
playing
called
Halloween.
yeah, if it was called no, they don't even do anything scary.
No, I mean, just my point is that it's Halloween all the time, and they're always in costume, but they're not anything
Yeah.
like the things they're dressing up like.
Yeah, like if the show was called Cool Car Rescue Adventures, like that would also be perfectly
Cool Car Rescue Adventures.
because yeah,
It's like if you mash together Hotel Transylvania, Cars, and Paw Patrol.
yeah, but just
That's
Just
what
take
it
out,
was
My
like-
goodness.
but it's only Hotel Transylvania in the yeah
in that it's like monster characters.
yeah
and that they look like something from Cars, but then like the premise is basically just Paw Patrol.
yeah. Premise is Paw Patrol like 100%, right? And again, that's how they act. That's how the voice acting is. And it's I don't know. It's weird to see because I haven't had to see anything like that in a long time. Because it's like 100% just there to sell some toys.
How do
Do they sell?
you
Can you get
see?
monster wheelie toys?
I thought I was too cool to let my daughter watch anything like that, but then when they like when it starts going and you like don't catch it and then that's what they want to watch and They throw
It's
a
too
little.
late.
Yeah, they throw a
I'm
tiny
so
little.
sorry, it's not on anymore. We missed it.
Yeah, we do stuff like that. I take solace in the fact that she kind of like will watch a show for a day or two and then get bored of it. So she's already kind of past this, but
All good.
it was.
Read a book.
I know.
My dad. That's all he says.
I know. There's
Silly crap off.
there's a lot of stuff about TVs where you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become a dad about this.
Yeah,
Because-
that's a whole other can of worms. Like, I want to believe that I'm gonna be able to handle that. I really want to believe that about myself, but I just know it's probably not gonna happen, and I'm terrified of the idea of my 8-year-old demanding a smartphone. It's like, dude, you do not need that. You write an essay and tell me why you need a smartphone,
Right. An essay.
Hey,
and then
know-
you make the money.
You know what?
But too bad you're 8. You can't make.
I used to grade those 4th grade persuasive essays
Mm-hmm.
for my wife.
Uh-huh.
They wrote essays about stuff they wanted. They're usually those are my favorite. They're pretty funny. I mean, they're usually like, I want a smartphone because smartphones are cool, and I should have a smartphone, and
All my friends have smartphones.
well, and I can watch YouTube on my smartphone, and I really like a smartphone.
Okay, tell me why
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
That was very persuasive.
Yeah, they're. I don't
Good
mean to go off on a
point.
like yeah.
Good.
on-
Wow, you're right.
I don't mean to go off on like a long tangent, but it's 4th grade's a little wild. Maybe the grades around it too, but there's always again, this is just I didn't teach 4th grade, but this is from grading lots of essays and also what my wife talks about. There's like a couple kids who are like really with it. And you can tell by their handwriting is like the handwriting they'll have for the rest of their life, right?
Yeah.
You just tell you're like, oh, these kids are like there.
Yeah.
And they're persuasive. They'd like write. There's like usually 2 or 3 kids who write these beautiful persuasive essays, and you're like, dang, I like didn't write a persuasive essay until I was like 18. But and then yeah, there's like some that you would kind of feel like, or like really where they ought to be in 4th grade, and then there's some that are super duper dumb. But it's just like the distance between, because there's some who write like freaking kindergartners, and there's others who like are like writing like beautiful handwriting and eloquent. You're like, holy cow, you're 4th grade. Anyway, I was like, how do I not make that a long tangent? But yeah, there were a few really good persuasive essays, but yeah, most of them are like, Squishmallows are great. I should have one.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. They're like, I saw them in a big bin at the toy store. I wanted to ask my mom if I could have one. She said no. I wish I could have a Squishmallow.
It made me sad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be sad, and that means I should have a squish.
Yeah.
You don't want me to be sad either.
That's more persuasive
Then what
You
they
don't
would-
want me to be sad, do you?
Anyway. What led me to that?
Hmm?
What led me to that?
Baby man.
Because your kids are going to write you a persuasive essay.
Yeah. Like, I genuinely want them to be information literate and actually literate. And, I think there are lots of great shows. And I really don't want to be an old man about this, but I am. I want them to enjoy the shows that I enjoy. Like, okay. like Avatar. And, I don't care if they don't understand what's going on. I just want them to have some quality entertainment. Like, if all they care about is people moving around in colors and fancy stuff, I want it to be at least subconsciously educational. Not in, the Cocomelon kind of way where we're singing about numbers for the 50 millionth time. I want them to, learn about relationships
You
and
just
different
only
kinds
have
of people.
Cocomelon playing on the TV 24/7.
They'll learn to tie their
Just
shoe, or
permeates
why they should.
Your whole house
My dad-
constantly.
Well,
And
I
you
kind
just
of wish I was born 15 years earlier. Then I could have a house, and then I could be part of the industry, and I wouldn't. I could have raised my kids without this trash.
On a positive note,
You're gonna have kids, and it'll just be like weird AI YouTube videos
Or just
that
like
are just
that,
like insane.
that Seinfeld AI.
Yeah.
Sorry, on a positive
on
note.
a positive note, this was a while ago. When I was like, are there any original, fresh, good TV shows for Little Mountain to watch? And then I found a whole bunch. There's a lot of them. They're like,
Other than Bluey?
oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of really good, fresh, thoughtful, well produced, etc. I was pretty surprised. I just kept finding them once I started looking for them.
What did you start looking for? Like, not crap TV?
Kinda. I don't remember what I. Yeah, there's a bunch of beautiful, charming little. There's Yeah, I don't need to.
For example?
Puffin Rock.
Hmm?
Hilda.
Oh, yeah, like
Yeah.
the fantasy one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, we essentially. Storybots is.
Storybots?
Yeah, that's like an education one, but it's very clever and funny and thoughtful. I'm just Shaun the Sheep. That one's been around forever.
You're still going?
What?
It's still going? Or?
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess that
That's ancient.
it is kind of old. But yeah, Shaun the Sheep. I'm just thinking they're all of.
Peppa Pig?
Oh yeah, Peppa Pig is really good.
That counts?
Yeah.
I thought it was. Wait.
No, Peppa Pig's way good.
What's the one that's horrible? Oh, Caillou. I was thinking.
Oh
Caillou.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Peppa Pig is charming. Trying to think they're all of them are on Netflix. All of the
See, those are proof that you can have stuff that's good and can sell toys.
yeah.
You know, there's toys of all of those things, and they're good for us. They're good for kids. But Fragman, Cocomelon. Anyway,
I don't know. There's always gonna be.
exploitative
Yeah.
turds.
Yeah. There's always gonna be junk. I don't know. It's not. Although
Philip, just remember he has work tomorrow.
I don't have work tomorrow.
I've got work tonight.
Wouldn't it? Oh, you got work tonight. Dang.
I'm hoping it's gonna just be easy. I haven't looked hard at it, but they're can you do this quick fix on this thing? So I'm quick fix.
Yeah.
Quick
See
fix.
what it is, and they're like, this isn't quick.
I know. There's a threat that it could be that.
Do you need help with any clients?
No,
I am
I have very
actively looking for work.
I have very little right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean
It's
always
thin,
it's always
really
feast and famine.
skin pickings, skinny pickings.
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of stuff, and now I don't. But honestly, it's kind of okay.
Yeah,
But-
stay-at-home dad sort of stuff. It's
Yeah. Oh man, sometimes I'm bouncing all over the place. But
I should make a little comic about a Sith Jedi person who's going around and just doing kind of mildly sinister things, like convincing people they have work in the morning. They show up and they're anyway.
oh no, yeah, we can stop pretty soon. Yeah, sometime in the future I want to do a Werner Herzog thing. But like I said when I was sending you a text, the problem is we did Tarkovsky, who was a filmmaker and essentially wrote down what he thought about everything in a book.
Yeah.
Well, So Herzog didn't, although he actually has written quite a few things and also done a million interviews, and I got a bunch of like books. They're essentially like compilations from the library of like interviews.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and but the problem is so he's got all these kind of interesting ideas, but they're all chopped up, and you have to like
Try and piece
yeah
together his overarching philosophy.
yeah. So that's the problem because I can't just be like, hey, Philip, read this. Just one thing. It's like his ideas are like chopped up like throughout a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Huh.
But one of the things that whenever, because we complain about advertisement, because I think that's funny. But yeah, he has an idea that I read a couple times in a couple different interviews where he's saying that's an abuse of storytelling,
Abuse of storytelling.
Wait, what is exactly?
like advertising.
Oh.
It's like storytelling's like actually like an important like human
Yeah.
activity,
Mm.
like a very like special one. Just to like use storytelling to like
Sell stuff.
sell stuff is like an abuse of storytelling. That's like a good like basis to like have some curmudgeonly like thoughts.
Yeah.
Miyazaki feels similarly. Well, sort of in a different
Is it-
direction. It's more
no,
like he
Has
feels.
Miyazaki written? I feel like if he were to write a grumpy book, he'd write a pretty good grumpy book.
He would make a really good grumpy book.
He'd
just-
fit into our
like
our
or
start
pantheon.
start of like little like canon of angry Japanese men. He would probably fit well, but yeah, I don't think he's
And Tolstoy their neighbor.
yeah.
On Tarkovsky their neighbor.
Yeah, the Russians and the
holy
Japanese
cow.
got some
We need to
grumpy
dude.
complaints about modernity
Well, see, that's the problem. Is I
and
wanted
aesthetics.
to do Ralph Waldo Emerson, but he's so happy we can't do him. He's all like American and cheerful and junk. But yeah,
None of that.
Yeah, it needs to be grumpy.
yeah.
Lucky. Hey, you sleepy?
No, doing a little game jam at some point.
Yeah,
would
let's
be
do
fun.
it. Let's do it.
And let's not just say let's do it. Let's
No,
do
no.
It.
Let's,
We'll do it.
we'll do it. I'm all for it. I've been trying to do something by myself unsuccessfully for almost years.
Mm.
For almost years.
Yeah, I don't
Just
know.
year.
Just year. It's the animation medium isn't made to,
Do you ever just start
one-man
feeling
bands.
sad and feeling like you might just have to give up your dream to survive?
Dream of survival.
not necessarily.
I'm starting to feel like that.
Although
Like I don't think I could ever hope to own a home.
I don't know. You don't know. You don't know how things play out.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't plan on getting laid off. And
Yeah.
certainly, I'm hoping to get hired. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Oh, but Jason, after the trough of every wave comes the crest.
There's another freaking drop.
Yeah, that is the idea.
I want a really big wave. Stop climbing when I die.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I've entertained all sorts of things because I really like. Yeah, I don't know. speaking of Confucian sayings, no, I really like a lot like Eastern philosophy, and sometimes I'm like, should I just like go back to school for that? For like, just like do something very different. But I don't know. I don't think so.
For all you
That's the
cat
answer.
lovers out there.
It's just a wrestle.
You guys weren't supposed to hear about that.
What?
I'm just talking about to the audience. Just joking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I should probably go.
Yeah, I should.
It's late.
It is 1:00. But this was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do a game jam.
Mucky, hey. Yeah, this is weird. I didn't expect her to do this with you guys. She's got weird mixed feelings right now. Hey. But, yeah, I do have work in the morning.
All right.
Thanks, guys. This was fun. Bye, everybody.
And
Say bye, Monkey.
Thanks for chatting with us.
Thanks for chatting with us.